Jupiter, going retrograde, is now in the 8th degree of Aries. So let's have a look at that Sabian symbol. Aries 8, a large hat with streamers flying, facing east. Balancing passionate enthusiasm with judicious caution. Being open and sensitive to higher energies requires a wisdom that the immature person has not developed. Protection is required to limit psychic forces until sufficient development of consciousness has occurred. Guidance is advised so that the source and implications of the wisdom of the East may be assimilated fully. So we're discussing spiritual guidance and protection, guarding our sensitivities, with the idea that half-hearted warriors die, but then so do reckless ones. And the warrior energy is strong with Jupiter in Aries. Jupiter, its function is really to bring meaning into our lives. It has a lot to do with how we develop our spiritual model of the world, or even our philosophy, if we don't really want to call it spiritual. It's still Jupiter. And each of us needs to make up a value system based on our ability to trust that if we follow through on that value system, then life will be all right. We'll use this strategy, this value system, as a strategy to optimize our chances. And Jupiter has a lot of faith, a lot of trust, a lot of ability to assimilate things, to integrate things, to expand into new territories with a certain amount of optimism. That's what it is about, isn't it? And it's not going to be shy about that in Aries, is it? How could it be? And we're discussing here not only Aries, but the second expression of Aries, which is drive. So even though it's retrograde, nevertheless, we're talking about a drive forward to develop further meaning in life. And Jupiter in Aries is very much to do with personal freedom and getting a sense of one's own spiritual and philosophical take on life. What is going on as far as I'm concerned? I want to know what all this is about. Life, the world, people, everything, expansion into the realms of understanding who you are in the context of where you are. And in Aries, there's a lot of establishing of I-ness, who I am. That's its purpose, Aries. So Jupiter in Aries is just taking the self, me, and putting it out and about just to see where I am, who I attract, what conflicts I attract, what opportunities I attract, because it's all I in Jupiter in Aries. It's bound to be, isn't it? And we've come through this degree before. As Jupiter was going forward, it came through this degree before. And now we're going retrograde just to check out whether or not we really understood it. And I'm reading these sections of the Sabian Mysteries text from the book. And we've heard it before. This is not new information, but it's the retrograde process. Oh yeah, I've heard that before, but actually I'm hearing it differently. The emphasis of my attention is different now. We're focusing on a different part of it. Now that is the retrogradation. That's what that does. It gets you to see what you skipped over before. It gets you to look at things that only now make sense because of your experiences since the last time you looked. Now, this rather complex image of a hat and streamers facing east, the east is our metaphor for the mystical aspect of life being integrated. And this is a very good metaphor. If you were to travel to the east, such places as Nepal, particularly Bali, but also India, Thailand, Indonesia, and other parts. There's no really clear line between what is a material experience and what is a spiritual experience. They just don't see it that way. The whole thing of splitting material world life and spiritual life is just absurd in the East. And that's a wisdom here. The streamers flying from the East, the air that moves things that fly, the air represents thoughts moving. And the thoughts that were once associated with the East moved. They moved west, I would say, with the Theosophists about 1890. There was a very definite trigger then to begin something that was interrupted very significantly by the two wars. And until about the early 60s, there wasn't a lot going on. There was some attempt. Let's say Jack Kerouac started writing about the wisdom of the East. Hermann Hesse did. There were certain writers that knew about all this, but it didn't become mainstream until the 60s, and that was aided by sex and drugs and rock and roll, really. Sexual liberation had a dimension of consciousness with it. Drugs, some of them were very mind-altering, and new experiences were reached in the mental level. Rock and roll, the whole music scene freed us emotionally. So this rather cynical approach to seeing what the 60s were about in sex and drugs and rock and roll, that's actually a very profound wisdom there, if we look into it. And this is again what the retrogradation process can do. It can look again as what we have made habitual and skirted over, and just actually find out why that particular phrase, in this case in the 60s, was used. Profound wisdom entering into consciousness through humor, actually, or rebelliousness, or something else, but it's actually very wise. So that's the wisdom of the East, and it moved as far as the west coast of America, and really was taken up in California and other places, but California really had the reputation of an awakening occurring, and it kind of got assimilated there into a new breed of thinker. The people that were opening up now to the wisdom of the East were discriminating. They were intelligent, trained in logical thought, and there was a lot of them that were pink and fluffy and just took it all on without discrimination, but some of them really thought it through. And they started to present the teachings of Sufism and Zen and Buddhism and the Mahabharata's wisdom and so on, and they started to look at this and really try and understand what this symbology could mean. And it was wonderful. It was a wonder. And then it spread from California back into the countries in Europe. England did quite well, actually. Germany picked up on quite a bit of it, but not every country took it up at the same time. Anyway, that is a phenomenon of the 20th century, actually, how we have played about with ideas from the East and come up with a new philosophy. However, a lot of people got blown away because they couldn't handle it. And I refer to these frequently as the pink and fluffies. There are other versions of it much more seriously disturbed by this. But the thinking mind is not unspiritual. Spirituality is not only accessed through intuition. Just because you yearn something, that something is true, it doesn't make it true. Just because you want to be a magician or a spiritual teacher, it doesn't make it true. What makes it true is much more aligned with the thinking mind and the work and the study and the conversations and the examinations and so on. That's what checks it all out. Well, you can't access that individually. You need guidance. And until you have guidance, you need to put a hat on. You need to protect yourself from these ideas, because the ideas are powerful. That's the whole thing. They have power. And many of the people, in fact, almost most of the people that study the wisdom of the East, without putting it into context, the very best they get to do something which is called strip mining. In other words, you learn the mantras of teaching, and you practice the mantras, and you don't bother to work out the philosophy that brings the mantra into a tangible wisdom. You don't bother with that. That's work. So you strip mine, you take the goodness, and you take particular phrases without studying the whole wisdom. The truth will make you free is one example. It's a very profound spiritual teaching, but it is incomplete. When you enter the kingdom of heaven, you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. There's 3 parts of that. You need to enter the kingdom of heaven, and then the truth will be known, and then it will set you free. So a part of that wisdom is not enough. You need the whole thing to understand what was taught. Now that idea is relatively straightforward, because it's in our own tradition. It's in the English language, and it's in the Christian tradition. Not difficult to understand, that one. But when you're actually studying things like Om, for example, mostly pronounced Om, O-M, which is not really true. It's Aum, A-U-M. And immediately you've dumbed it down from that which links the heart to the throat to the crown, Aum, to Om, which is not resonating those chakras. So not understanding the philosophy behind the mantra, you're almost certain, well actually you are certain, to say it wrongly and to think it wrongly. So without the guidance to shape your approach to any spiritual practice, not only are you going to do it wrong, but you're going to use this powerful tool in the wrong way. Well, if you try to do that with other power tools like you have in the garden, in the garage, you end up without 10 fingers. You know, you do something very, very serious. You do damage to yourself. And this is actually what has happened. People have taken on these practices without bothering to study them. Now, this is where the guide comes in, and this is where the protection of the hat comes in. So all of this has to be understood in the context of Jupiter expanding with confidence into new spiritual realms. It's not safe, is it? I mean, if anybody was going to misuse this freedom of the wisdom of the East, it would be Jupiter. So there's a warning here, and I think this is the appropriate time to consider this warning in the retrogradation period. Is, yeah, we do need guidance. We really do. And we do need to take this thing carefully. We really do. Because otherwise Jupiter will just expand the errors and take us into an adventure that we really don't want. So, all in all, it's a time for us to contemplate where we are receiving our guidance. And to some extent, inner guidance is very helpful, and you can tune into your own higher self and receive guidance in that way. But I think also you can do workshops, you can read books, you can check it out with other people online who are studying the same thing, just to make sure that your interpretation of higher level wisdom is actually helpful, is actually safe, is actually taking you forward rather than backward or around in a circle. Just check it out with a guide, or talk to somebody. And if you can find somebody whom you can follow for a while, so much the better. You'll accelerate your process.